Hello everyone. Now in this lecture we are going to study 3 points that are well ordering principle, recursive definitions and division algorithm. Now let's see these points one by one. First, the well ordering principle. So what does this well ordering principle says? It says that the positive integers are well ordered. An ordered set is well ordered. Why it is called as a well ordered? Because each and every non-empty subset has a smallest or the least element. Then and then only we can say that ordered set is called as a well ordered. So this well ordering principle has the following statement. What does that statement? That statement is every non-empty set of non-negative integers has a least element, or least element also called as a smallest element. The well ordering principle is a concept which is equivalent to mathematical induction, and that point mathematical induction we have seen our previous lecture. This well ordering principle is a property of the positive integers and which is equivalent to the statement of the principle of mathematical induction. So in the principle of mathematical induction there are the two steps. First one is the basic step, another one is the inductive step. So this same rule applied to the well ordering principle also. So again here the statement of the well ordered principle. What is that? Every non-empty set of a non-negative integers contains a least element. Also the many constructions of the integers also take it as an axiom. Okay, axiom stands for the self-evident truth. So the integers are constructed by using this well ordering principle as an axiom. That is self-evident truth. So it is useful, that's why it is useful in many proofs of the properties of the integers. Now see here the well ordering principle theorem. So what is that theorem? Every non-empty subset of the natural numbers has a least element or the smallest element. So what is that proof? Let's see here. Suppose let A there is a non-empty subset of n that is natural numbers. Then show that A has a least element. That is, there is an element A, small a, belongs to A, that is non-empty subset, such that that small a element less than or equal to the n for all n belongs to A. Then by using this induction, the predicate is defined as follows. That is P of n. P of n stands for the propositional function. Suppose n belongs to A, then A has a least element. So there are the two steps. First one is the basis step or basic step. In that basic step, it is said that P of 0 is true. It is clearly true. Why it is true? Because 0 is less than equal to n for all n belongs to n. Now see the next step. The next step is that inductive step. Inductive step. In that inductive step, we have to show that P of 0 conjunction P of 1 conjunction P of n. If all these are true, then and then only P of n plus 1 is also true. So we have to show that this statement or this implication. So to prove this implication, first we have to assume that P of 0, P of 1 and P of n all are true and that n plus 1 belongs to A. So for this proof we have to consider the two cases here. So a case first. Let's see our case first. There is an negation and then existential quantifier symbol. and m such that, so existential quantifier means stands for the few element or the some element. For few or some m such that m belongs to A and m less than n plus 1. So in this case we can say that n plus 1 is the least element of A. Now consider the case second. There is existential quantifier m, that is few m or some m such that m belongs to A and m is less than n plus 1. In this case, since p of m is true, because why it is true? Because we assume that p of 0 is all are true. That's why p of m is true. So by using this p of m is true, A has a least element. After this discussing these points, we can conclude that p of n plus 1 is also true. By using the mathematical induction, it is obtained that p of n is also true for all n belongs to n. So after saying this statement, we all two cases are showed that p of 0 is also true and p of n plus 1 is also true. So by using this, by considering these two steps, we can say that finally p of n is also true. Since A is not empty, so it can be said that n belongs to A. Since p of n is true, we have obtained that in the previous step that p of n is true. So this implies that A has a least element. So here our theorem is proof that the non-negative integers have a least elements. Now our next point is the recursive definitions. So what are the recursive definitions and why we require these recursive definitions? Sometimes it is very difficult to define an object explicitly. So there is a need to define an object implicitly or in terms of itself. So it may be easy to define an object in terms of itself, and whole this process is called as a recursion. The recursion can be used to define the sets, functions, and sequences, etc. For instance, first consider how we define the recursively sequences. So the sequence of the powers of the 2 is given by A of n is equal to 2 raised to n for n is equal to 0 to 2 up to infinite. But this sequence can be defined by giving the first term of the sequence, namely A of 0 is equal to 1, and a rule for finding a term of the sequence from the previous one. Likewise, A of n plus 1 is equal to 2A of n for the values of n are 0 to infinite. Then, when a sequence is defined recursively by specifying how the terms of the sequence are found from the previous terms, then at that time the induction is used to prove the results about the sequences. Okay, this is all about the how we define the sequences recursively. So how does we get the recursively defined sequences? We get it by specifying the terms of the sequences from the previous terms. So at that time, the induction are used to prove the results about the sequences. Now next, how we can define the sets recursively. When a set is defined recursively, some initial elements in a basis step are specified. Then a rule for constructing the new elements is provided from the recursive step. So in the definition of the recursive set, there are also two steps. First one is the basic step or the basis step, and another one is the recursive step. So to prove the results about the recursively defined sets, a method is used, and that method is called as a structural induction. So in the recursively defined sets, the structural induction is used to prove the results about the recursion. Up to this point, we have seen the recursively defined sequences, recursively defined sets. Now we will see the recursively defined functions. The recursively defined functions are specified in two steps, or it is defined in two steps. Assume that first we have to assume that domain of the function is the set of non-negative integers. Now there are the two steps. First one step is the basic step or the basis step. In this step we have to specify the value of the function at 0. Okay. So next one step is the recursive step. This step is also called as a inductive step. In this step we have to define a rule for finding the value of the function at an integer from its values at the smaller integer or at the previous integers. So in the recursive defined function there are the two steps. First one is the basic step. In that step we have to define or we have to specify the value of the function at 0. And in the recursive step or the inductive step we have to define a rule to find out the value of the function at an integer from its the previous values or the smallest integers. Now let's see one of the example of the recursively defined functions. So see here, there is a question. The question is, suppose the function f is defined recursively by f of 0 is equal to 3 and f of n plus 1 is equal to 2 f of n plus 3, and we have to find out or we have to calculate that f of 1, f of 2, f of 3 and f of 4. So how we can solve this problem? From the recursive definition, it follows that f of 1 is equal to 2 into f of 0 plus 3 is equal to 2 into 3 plus 3 is equal to 9. Now the question is asked, how did we get this result 9? So let's see here. In the question itself, we have already given the value of f of 0, and that value is 3. F of 0 is equal to 3. Now put the value of n is equal to 0 first time in the second statement of the question. The statement is that f of n plus 1 is equal to 2 f of n plus 3. So put the value of n is equal to 0 here. After putting the value 0, f of 0 plus 1, that is f of 1, is equal to 2 f of n, that is 2 f of 0. So we already know that the value of the f of 0, and that value is the 3. So 2 into 3 is equal to 2 into 3 plus 3 is equal to 9. So likewise we get the result 9 here. To get the value of f of 2, we have to put the value of f of 0 also, f of 1 also, and we calculated that the value of the f of 1. We put this value into f of 1 place and we get the result of f of 2. Likewise we get the result of f of 3 and f of 4 also. This is all about the recursive definitions. Now next our algorithm is the division algorithm. The division algorithm, let a be an integer and d a positive integer. Then there are the unique integers q and r with r is greater than or equal to 0 and less than d, such that a is equal to dq plus r. Now let's see the explanation of this division algorithm theorem. In the division algorithm, when an integer is divided by a positive integer, then there is a quotient and a remainder. In the equality, what is that equality? A is equal to dq plus r, which is given in the division algorithm. So what this equality? This equality stands for D is called the divisor, A is called the dividend, and Q is called the quotient, and R is called as the remainder. Now, the following notations are used to express or to specify or to define the quotient and the remainder. What are those? Q is equal to A division D or A div D, and R is equal to A mod D. So these two expressions are used to define the quotient and the remainder respectively. Now let's see one of the example of the division algorithm. The question is that what are the quotient and the remainder when 101 is divided by the 11. So by using the equality or by using the equation which is given in the division algorithm, A is equal to dq plus R. So A stands for the dividend. What is the dividend? 101. Then D stands for the divisor. What is the divisor? 11 is the divisor into Q stands for the quotient. Now you have to calculate the quotient. So by dividing the 11 to 101, we get the quotient, that is 9. That is 11 nines are 99. By after dividing the 101 by 11, we get the remainder, that is 2. So in the place of the remainder, we put the value 2. Hence, when the 101 is divided by the 11, then the quotient, the equation of the quotient, Q is equal to A div D. That is, quotient is the 9 is equal to dividend 101, then division and divisor D 11. Likewise, for the remainder, the quotient of the remainder is R is equal to A mod D, then remainder is 2, then dividend is 101, that is A mod D, that is divisor, that divisor is 11. Okay, this is all about the well ordering principle, then recursive definitions and division algorithm. Okay, thank you.